Alright, so for those of you who don't know how to do an alternator on a Honda, this is pretty simple. First off, you'll disconnect the battery. Check. Then you gotta take these two motherfucking bolts out and this thing out, which holds the AC line right in place. Usually you gotta take it out a certain way, so right when you put it back on, you know exactly how it came off. Just keep it simple. And then you gotta take this guy out of the way, which is the power steering pump. First off, loosen this bolt and loosen this bolt, and that loosens the tension on the belt. But first you gotta also loosen this bolt. Then there's another bolt down there, which you can only loosen from here. Let's show you this. And this comes up like this and gets out of the way. You can only loosen it from right there. Bink. That's what you need a wrench for. Still a pain in the butt to get to. So, expect a headache, because that's what happens. And then your power steering on these Hondas always leaking. Which is probably why my freaking alternator's broke. So I should probably change that hose at the same time, considering you have one. Anyways, this power steering pump's got to come out. Basically, these are hard lines here, but they still move. So you got to unclip that from there, and then unclip this from here, which it pretty much is, and then they'll move. And you can just move the whole thing and lay it over here, out of the way. And after that's done, then you got access to your alternator, which is just a couple bolts. Then the belt comes off, and you always want to get a new belt because that's the best thing to do. And then pull out the old, put in the new. I'll keep you updated as it goes on. Update. So basically, I took out. Basically, I took out this guy right here that mounts that to the bolt. This is the whole assembly right there. It's just the bolts and through it right there, and then there's the nut for it right there, and that little guy right there. It's that top tab right here on this top part. Anyways, it's pretty loose, but you still got to get to that one bolt down there. So, I mean, if you have the right wrench, this is the way to do it. Not drop the wrench on the ground. But, unfortunately, pretty sure my 12 is a lost wrench. It's a lost cause. So I'm gonna have to figure something else out. But basically, you get it right here parallel with the belt. Boom. And you'd be able to wrench it off a little bit at a time. Works better with the ratchet wrench. You can get a ratchet in there with the short guy on there, but you have to take this out. And 90% of the time, to take out this, you gotta take out that 10 right here. Where you at? That 10 right there. Bink. So, it's kind of a pain in the butt because it's right next to the pulley, so I tend not to mess with it. So, yeah, let's see what we can do here about getting this stupid power steering pump off. And now that my hands are all fucking gross and everything, I'm gonna use my phone anyways. So, basically, once you get that tiny little nut out, I was able to get it out with the ratchet, no problem. Just gotta get right on this right side of the belt. And boom, that nut pops out, which has a flat side, which sits in that little keyhole down there. And then she's all loose in here, so she just moves around freely. Of course, once you have the belt off the side, you gotta have the belt off. So then you just gotta unclamp this line. Boom. Unclamped. And this is the tricky part, because you gotta put your hood. You gotta get your hood latch on. Come on, focus camera. Figure it out, focus. Focus. There we go. Alright, so you gotta get your hood latch out of the way. Because this whole thing disconnected all the way. So, this whole thing has to move over. Obviously, you can't do that with the hood latch. So this is where the skills of holding the hood with the head comes in. And then, once you do that, it's as simple as... That's what I meant to say. And you just lift up and voila. Bada boom. Just like that. Right on top of pants. And then you got access to, oh, what's that? Alternator. The only thing you gotta watch out for is these AC lines, because if you fuck them up, it's gonna ruin your day, and you're gonna smell Freon, and then you're gonna have to fucking fix a leak. So don't do that, because that also sucks. And also don't forget or lose this mount, because I did that, and that fucking ruined my line. And I had to change this line because it wore a hole right through it because it wasn't latched into place. So don't be dumb like me and fucking lose that thing. Anyways, now you just gotta break the tension on the alternator, a couple bolts, belt comes off, and then you can change your whole new belt. I'm not going to change the power steering belt, I'm just going to keep that one for now. I'll do that one later because that's pretty easy. So. Yep, I'll do you on an update when I'm done. Okay, so, basically, you break that bolt free, you find that wing nut down there, and you break that loose. I just had to use a pair of needle nose pliers because it's pretty fucking tight. But anyways, I remember this guy does have to come out for the power steering reservoir, because if you don't pull that out, that bolt blocks the clearance for that bolt and won't allow it to come out all the way. There's a specific hole in the frame right there for it to go out. It's just pretty cool, but it barely fits. So yeah, don't forget that. It sucks. Don't give yourself a headache for no reason. You can kind of see it. That bracket where the wing nut goes, right? You gotta take that one off. That's what's tight on the alternator. You gotta leave that one tight on the car. Take that guy off. So that, I believe that bitch is a fucking 12. And you gotta get right here on the driver's side tire wheel. That's right. But I broke some craziness. You know, my other hand looks pretty much the same. Alright, so then you just gotta take that bolt down, and then the whole fucking thing comes out. But then, of course, you gotta unplug it and undo that fucking ground on the fucking side. Otherwise, it won't come out because of wire switch. So, there you go. Update. Alright, so I said it before and I'll say it again. This is the most pain in the ass part about it. So you gotta get this motherfucker just barely out, and it doesn't even come out, it stays in there. So, I don't even know what the hell Honda was thinking when they fucking did this, but it should give just enough clearance to put something in there and pry out this motherfucker. I don't really have much. Got my pry tool. Doesn't really take much. See, it just kind of wedged itself right out of there. But that bolt barely clears. Barely. Because it's still inside here to probably like right there. So yeah, barely clears, but you gotta take that bracket off. Otherwise it barely doesn't clear. And then me, I still have to unbolt the tin and then unplug it, which is really no big deal. I just saved that for last, so. Now that the picture's turning all crazy, unbolt, unplug, or you'll get it stuck. Alright, so you get that guy off and it falls right off. Now you just gotta push that tab on the side right there. And here's what it looks like when everything's out of the way. Probably fucking messy in here. It's like, whoa, that's all power steering fluid. Alright, anyways. Easy as fuck to just pull the whole harness and everything. Plug in, just it's easy to do. So, anyways, it's pretty cool. Which way you look at it. Getting grease all over my phone. Anyways, gotta take the pliers. Yeah, snug up that fucker.
And you know, and
physically can't turn that anymore, so it's tight. As I touch the belt, it's tight. It's not going nowhere. Okay. Next, to replace, got to put the power steering right back where it went. But you have to make sure you don't forget to put certain things back first. So you have to put bucket, thingamajig, power steering reservoir. Otherwise, you're screwed and you forget and you're dumb, and then shit happens and you're pissed off because you have to take shit apart. You have to fucking do it with a wrench. Don't be stupid. Reservoir mount back, and then once we place back on, because that one is not as bad as the other one, and that one's a lot easier to do. So, do not forget this, but this is last because this is after we mount this one. Anyways, just in case you forgot, all of the hopefully remember where they go because I always do. So, later. What's up? Place it through this little hole. So, fall into place, kinda. And then you reach your hand down here, and you gotta put it on the bottom bell housing, but to make sure it's all the way down. Otherwise, you're gonna be able to get it down there. Alright, so I never made a finished video because it was too late and my phone died, so here's what it looks like when she's all in and done. You gotta make sure just you bolt everything up. Make sure you get that belt as tight as possible to reduce squeaks. This belt, the power steering, and the other belt underneath, the alternator / main belt. And once you get everything tight, make sure you put everything back together. And that's how we roll.